Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. It's been a pretty weird 7 days, but there's been a lot of things happening, but there's only been really 2 days of like top level action. I'm talking that primo high grade vitality are on the stream type Counter-Strike that everyone's so obsessed with. We're kind of junk smokers. We'll pick up any old garbage weed. Like hell, cut 40% with basil, we'll still smoke it. Like that's the kind of shit we're into. Everyone else needs that top quality kush. They've basically only watched 2 days of CS. I was trying my best to follow everything, including that Copenhagen event, the Istanbulan, the things that played out over the course of like Friday to Sunday. These smaller events, just trying to keep a finger on the pulse, let's put it that way. And there's been a lot of CCTs, a lot of qualifiers, a lot of little events on the side to watch as well. But let's talk about all of that and more in today's episode, joined by Quack as always. But before we do, members only. Got to have a chat about what the members get. The members, you can see on screen the Court Honor Roll, who are being recentered live by our producer. What a sexy man. You can see also on screen the names of our two Court contributors, Excel and Romich. They just contributed their way to a podcast, which is now up for members only. So if you are a member and you want to listen to some unfiltered thoughts on a number of different topics, including the current podcasting environment, including some chat about Passion UA's project and the comms issues they may or may not have, how Heroic will fare with a new AWPer, things like that. Just generally just those sorts of topics. It's all covered there. Check it out. But yeah, members also get access to the King Court interviews, the BTS segments, which we just did. And of course, any other VODs that go live, and the right to vote on certain polls that actually decide things when it comes to my content. Quack, we haven't spoken in 7 days because, of course, we only talk to each other on this show. We actually have no personal communication. It's quite a bitter, resentful relationship off camera. So yeah, let's pretend to like each other. What have you been up to? Anything to promote?
A lot of work. I worked the entire weekend, which is always fun. Actually, it was fun. It was pretty nice. We had a lot of stuff to cover.
But your girlfriend loves it, doesn't she?
I'm out of her way. I'm just sitting in here for hours on end. That's also how I got this fucking RSI in my shoulder. Anyway, we had not a lot of big work has happened. You can read some stuff at TLDR, which I wrote, which is fun. And then this week, it's crazy that it's actually this week. I'm in Oslo this weekend, and you can watch the DE Airport Masters with this ugly face on the monitor. Don't know what I'll be doing yet, but I will be there. Maybe casting, maybe being a desk analyst, maybe being an interviewer. One of those things. Yeah, so maybe all three. So we'll see. But anyway, I'll be there. If you're in Norway, come say hi. On the unlikely, if you happen to be at Oslo Airport, come say hi. But otherwise, tune into the stream because it's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna give it my all. And I'm really excited because I've never done a broadcast gig on LAN, so that's gonna be really fun.
Quack, just so you understand, I will tune in just to find moments where you go full JL, clip them, and post them.
Very nice.
And troll you.
Very nice. You should. Very nice.
Well, I'm trying because unlike you, have a girlfriend who wants to see me and spend time with me. And that means at the weekend I can't sit there on my computer clipping your fucking stream. But I'll do what I can. Members in chat, because we are doing the live version members only today just because of the amount of live games that are going on. I like getting views. We're going to release it fully publicly towards the end of the day so that people actually have a better chance of seeing it. Yeah, I'm sure I have to explain that again in chat as people come in, as people filter in. But yeah, anyway, shall we get into the real topics? Shall we get into the main event? Cluj Napoca has been happening. And of course, Cluj Napoca PGL production, which means, sure, there's a few tech pauses. But again, there's an actual TO running an event with a proper structure, a proper set of groups with 0 question marks and a proper 8-team playoff. It's crazy how they do this all in 10 days despite the tech pauses, and it still kind of works. Like, we always complain about the tech pauses for like a day or two. By the time we get to the playoffs, by the time we get towards the end of these groups, usually those disappointments and those complaints have kind of disappeared. But yeah, let's begin, I think, with the favourites. Quack? So far, they've made good. The only one really missing in terms of the big favourites, the big four right now, is Spirit. Well, I guess the top 5 teams, we'd pretty much agree in the world, are these 4 teams in Mouse, Vitality, Furia, and Falcons. And then Spirit, I guess the other one you'd put in that collection. Spirit not in attendance, but everyone else so far 2-0 will be facing each other later on today for that playoff sort of berth. Mao's Vitality, big matchup. I mean, if Mao's can beat them in a group again, that will, I'm sure, reignite a whole bunch of really annoying conversations from a bunch of really annoying people talking about roster moves that desperately need to happen for the team that is top 4 at every fucking event. And then, yeah, Furia Falcons with a Falcons team looking in crazy form, at least so far. I mean, the opposition not exactly tough, but 3 players, I think, at a 130 rating or above with the crazy fragging numbers. It's been a pretty fantastic start for them as far as like a heat check event. Like, they looked really hot so far. Quack, biggest takeaways from these 4 favorites? Who'd like the most? Who's looking really strong? Who's kind of just smoke and mirrors?
Furia have played worryingly close matches so far.
Yeah.
Quite worrying that they would almost get beaten 2-0 by Foot in the second round. Quite worrying that Bait managed to get 11 and 10 on the 2 maps they played. Especially considering Furia's. I mean, yeah, they were kind of strong in Krakow playoffs, but we've had some worries over I've had some question marks over Furia over this season so far, just in terms of that their wins are close and their losses are embarrassing. So out of the 4 we have here, I might say that they might even be the weakest, but I'm not sure. Falcons have done great so far. Vitality, obviously. You know, losing a map to G2, losing a map to Mongols, I think that's kind of just Vitality's business. That's the way they've always done things. Vitality has never been a team that will win every series 2-0. They haven't been dominant in that sense. It's just that they are very good at actually finally closing that map and actually finally closing the series. So I'm not that surprised about that, to be honest. I expect them to go through. That mouse game is genuinely interesting. It's mouse in groups. We can keep going on about that. This is, I don't think we get a repeat of the Krakow playoff result. I think we do get a closer series today. But I can't say anything other than I think Vitality are going to go through, and I think that Furia Falcons game I think is probably the most interesting one, because I can pick holes in either team with their season so far. I can also really praise them for playing really well, both of them in different ways, and it's a bit of a showdown for who I think deserves that second place spot the most, to be honest. We're talking the number 2 and the number 3. We're gonna face off for a game in the playoffs. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a big deciding factor, I think, for a lot of things. Like in terms of excitement for these teams, who's expected to do what. Like it's a pretty big setting of matches. And actually, there's one thing you said: Vitality don't typically start, with flawless starts. Actually, they have in the last couple of events. Like ignoring obviously the bounty event where they flop in playoffs, but they still, go without dropping a map to that point. At Budapest, they didn't drop a map. At Krakow, they didn't drop a map to the grand final. The fact that they drop maps could be seen as a point of weakness, actually. But I will back you up on this. It never felt in doubt. It never really looked like they were going to struggle. When it came to it, I was just convinced they'd win. Like the map they dropped to Mongols, the opening map, and it's an absolute fucking bloodbath. Mongols, everyone's firing, everyone's on point. You get crazy Mazinho and Cobra numbers, especially. Like Cobra Zero is a big standout in some of these maps, and it's like noticeable because he had a rough start. And you're like, oh, fantastic. Realistically, none of us were worried. And the fact that they do utterly slaughter them on the next 2 goes to show, Mongols picked a map, were hot on it. It was nothing to be worried about, and I wasn't. So I do actually think Vitality have had a fantastic start. Despite dropping 2 kind of anomalous maps, they've still been incredible. So I'm really happy with their start despite the map drops. The team that looks the shakiest, you're right, is Furia. Like the Foot series, the fact that it takes them that many overtimes on Overpass to win it, and when you watch this Overpass through, Lord Foot are just, when they get to overtime, it's like they don't have the. They don't quite have the metal to pull it off. Like it seems a lot of their games they lose, their maps they lose to like bigger teams. It gets to overtime and they start struggling. And I think a part of that is just, they are a younger team, and that's one of the few places we actually see it manifest is in overtimes. They do struggle to close them out. And that's something that can be fixed, can be adjusted with time. Like they can get better. But for now, it's still a concern. Because I saw them towards the end, like, there's one-off reads that look like the player's in tune with the game and understands what he's supposed to be doing. And there's occasional rounds they run. I'm like, oh, that's a sick round. But in general, they seem to bottle it a bit. And Gravity will just try and force something. And, someone will be very sloppy and lazy in a check that might have been free or clear in the past, but you really need to be more careful, more diligent. The Yekendarin connector round where he just sat on that little box across from the stairs, and one player kind of half checks him and he kills him. The other player's just walking up the stairs like as if it's going to be fine. Like, they started making assumptions. They started losing a bit of that grip on the game, and it slipped away. And then map 3 they lose. But yeah, Foot looked fantastic in the same way that Furia looked a bit sus. Like there's still an element of where like I have to give credit to one team, detract from the other, but it's still a great game, and it feels like Foot are just right there on the cusp of being a really damn good team.
It basically sounds like you're saying Foot are one step away from winning that series 2-0, which would have been a statement win. Yeah.
They 100% were.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% they were. And that's really big. That's like Foot are having this sort of slow rise event to event where they keep getting these wins, and really the only thing we can detract from them is that they make these mistakes that you usually see out of a younger team, out of a younger side, and these tendencies. And that's basically the only thing you can take away from them. Like, we don't expect these guys to make big wins happen right away, of course. But I can see them making playoffs here. I think they're on a good track to do it. And like at this point, they won't have to face Furia again, for example, which would have otherwise been a very realistic prospect in the 2-1 pool or whatever. And I would say pretty much every team in the 1-1 and 0-2 pool they can beat. This could be Foot's first big event playoff performance, and that would be very exciting. Because then we're talking about things have, you talked about last week how there are 20 top 10 teams. It's gotten worse. Like Foot are basically like on VRS they're 12th, and I would say they are genuinely in the conversation to enter the top 10, especially if they keep playing as they have done. I would say Mongols and G2 are on a bit of a downer, which is I'd still put them as a dangerous top 10 side, but they are on a bit of a downturn. I would say they're going downwards trajectory wise. And then you also have teams like Astralis who are starting to look a little bit dangerous. Yeah. And you have some teams that you can never count out, like FaZe. And Aurora and Navi still hanging on. Perivision haven't completely fallen off.
No, Perivision just beat FaZe. They're up in the 2-1 pool as well. Like, it is really rough. It's exactly what I've been describing. The pack is so tough. And yeah, some teams, they're not all perfect. Like Foot, for example, lost to G2 and lost to Astralis in Krakow to miss playoffs. Those are winnable games for them in terms of on paper, in terms of the team we're talking about, like in terms of the quality they've shown, who they could be. Those are big losses. But we're not saying those teams are trash either. I mean, I'm going to have a whole conversation about G2 coming. But Astralis, we've praised them. We've given them all this credit for the moves they have made and how much better those moves look. And then Stare as well. As much as he was criticized very quickly this year for... Like, towards the end of last year, me and Yumi were having the conversation about Stare's exact roles and how it doesn't really make that much sense to want to move him into star roles. He's such a valuable piece, but if you have to have someone do it, might as well have him do it. And then with this version of the team, he starts the year poorly. All of a sudden, I see it mainstream, the conversation's happening, like all over the place. And then since then, like since the opening, like 2 or 3 series he played this year, Stare's been fantastic. So Astralis have shown a lot of strength in a lot of ways. And they have become a really tough team to deal with. They still have good calling. Calling that... Okay, this is going to be a tangent on fucking Astralis now. Calling that I think at times can be a little gambly. Like, when they play Nuke, they are a gamble of a team. Like, Cooksey will call them into really committal ideas, and that sometimes really work out, and they look just like they're just going to swarm you. They're just overpowering you. There's nothing you can do. Like, you're just going to get wrecked. But we saw against 3D Max, there are times when he takes the risk. The player who's there is ready for it, utterly wrecks them. Like Body's, to be fair, it's probably the best spray transfer I've ever seen Body hit to hold them off of ramp that one round. But still, the risk is always there when you're facing top level players. Like, he does take them into risky waters, but fuck, the calling is still overall good. Across the map pool, it's still good. The players are coming to their own with Stare's uptick. Ryu and Fuzi both have been fantastic since the start of the year, basically. Yeah. Yabi's still playing well. It's just the only person who's not fragging well on this Astralis roster is Huxi. And, well, that's to be expected. He is the Giga Chad. That's what he does. He doesn't frag very well. So I'm really excited for this season, the way it started and the way it's being played right now. It's just going to get tough. And look, the favorites taking care of business, the pack that kind of separate themselves taking care of business, is still cool to see. I do like that it's not pure chaos. I do like that there's certain amounts of predictability. I know that these 4 teams are near enough guaranteed wins in like almost any group stage matchup. Like Maus in groups will lose to a very select number of teams. That's basically Vitality, Falcon, Spirit. That's the same thing as playoffs, remember. In playoffs, since they've made the roster, like this their roster, they've lost to 4 teams in playoffs. One of them is FaZe at the major, which is the anomaly. The other 3 are Falcons, Spirit, Vitality. That is it. Like there is, despite the chaos, despite the unknowns, there are certain things that are predictable. And I'm glad that the things that are predictable is that the great teams are staying great and they are taking care of business time and time again in these groups. So I just felt like we'd give some favorites a bit of a pat on the back for a good start, despite, as we were just getting into, the chaos that is behind them. The pack that is constantly trying to get better and is honestly just going down to infighting because they can't quite reach that top group. So, no, pretty awesome to see that sort of still playing out here in Cluj.
Yeah, and there's a lower pool as well, which has some interesting teams, to say the least. You have 3D Max and Heroic, maybe slightly expected, teams who at this point I think have quite a low floor. 3D Max obviously, famously so. Heroic missing Alchemist is a bit of a weakness. It's like pound for pound, I think they absolutely can win the FaZe game. I think they absolutely maybe even should win the bait game. If they had a proper roster, but they are missing an Opper. Things are a little bit in flux. Things are very tricky for them right now. I think they are just really trying to hang on to within a whiff of a major spot until they can replace Alchemist properly, because this is something, members know this, just go to BTS. But yeah, and then of course you have Pain, who I think are struggling with sort of a new roster and probably are having a bit of a reality check after quite a long time pretending to be a top 10, top 15 side, or kind of having a bit of a reality check there. But there is one more team who maybe shouldn't be in the O2 pool.
Can we get back to that? Because that's I want to have that separately. I want to first give my thoughts about the entirety of what I've labeled the trash group before talking about the floater that refuses to leave the pool. Let's put it that way. Like the team that I have a lot of thoughts on right now. Let's talk about the rest of them, because I do want to touch on Pain, 3 Max, all those guys.
Yeah, sure.
Pain, for me, it's exactly what you've just touched on there. Like, they were pretending to be top 10 for a while. And if you looked at their results, it was puzzling how they were even a top 10 side. And it's basically just that they had some top placements at majors and things like that were very fraudulent in terms of the teams they played and beat. Mm-hmm. And that was carrying their ranking pretty much exclusively. They were benefiting from a pretty stupid major system that gave them a crazy seed and some piss easy matchups to get them to playoffs. And that's about it. Pain was struggling at every real event against every top 10 to 15 team. Like, they couldn't buy a win against basically anyone for a long time. And that's basically what has led them to this. Like, they've had to make these big changes, and the changes haven't fully embedded yet. Like, since the start of the year, they've beaten Bet Boom online. They've beaten Bait at Krakow stage 1. And since then, and aside from that, nothing. They've won 2 other maps, and those both have been in Cluj. So they're not exactly on top form, and they're really struggling to get this team working, is what it seems like. And look, I still think this will work. I still think this Pyria VSM duo they've brought in will lead them to actual greater heights than what they had before, just on the basis that what they had before was completely fake. Like, all of the credit they got last time for being roughly a top 10 team was fake. Like, they beat Brazilian teams all the way to a major top 4, and that was essentially it. Like, that was their success, the beginning and end of it. So yeah, Blast Rivals, they made top 4 at that by beating Passion Yue and Tai Lu. These are the kind of things they had before. I think they will be a better team than that with VSM and with Pyria. It's just taking a while to really mesh and make work. And I think they've also had not the easiest time as far as matchups. to be fair, there's no easy matchups left. In a 16-team event, there's no easy matchup. You know, they lost to the Mongols. Yeah. They lost to Aurora. They took a map off both. These are good places to test yourself. Again, like that's essentially what it's coming down to. They will, I think, eventually integrate, and playing these games will be helpful. It's really tough when you're not on point. When you're not on point, you're not fully in with the comms, you're not flowing as a team. Facing a Mongol side with 5 aimers who are just going to push you and fucking test you left, right, and center is really tough. So I do have a lot of time for this Pain team, but an 0-3 here will look rough. It will look very rough, and I'm not sure they really want to be there, you know, having this sort of difficulty.
No, naturally, you really don't, and you would hope to see something better. I would hope to see something better out of Pain. I think Big Zero deserves better. I think NQC deserves better. I think even VSM Imperia. I think, as you say, it's a good change that I think is going to pay dividends eventually. And I've seen a lot of people really dislike the VSM change. I think for similar reasons that those same people count out Boros entirely as a player. Because they have seen him years ago, and then in their world, he disappeared. You know, he might as well have been fucking working at a McDonald's. And now he's back, and he's going to try to make a case in Tier 1. He was fucking farming. He's earned this spot on Pain. He really has earned this spot on one of the top Brazilian sides. And that's why I think it is eventually going to pay off. Right now, so far, it's not looking that good. It's not looking that good for anybody on the team. But yeah, there's I think it is a little bit, like I said, a reality check. They're gonna have to take a step back, maybe rebuild from some of the more tier 2 events, some of the less stacked events. I don't know. They would be a perfect team to go to Atlanta, which is they have done that.
They're going to Atlanta. Yeah. They're going to the Pro League Stage 1 as well, quite importantly. Stage 1 of Pro League will be another great opportunity for them to start picking up some wins. Because Cluj and Napoca, their lower bracket matchup, or their 0-2 matchup is G2. They shouldn't win that game. Like, to keep it real, that's not an easier game than the last 2 they've lost, right? Like, not really. But it is what it is. And then, let's talk about Heroic quickly for me. Youngstar, I picked them and had some banter about Youngstar on the AWP, you know. Finally, stop calling him Youngster, because on the AWP, he's Youngstar. Like, he plays with swagger. I mean, he doesn't play that well overall, but he does at least try with the AWP, right? He uses it like a star. Doesn't hit all the shots.
Yeah.
Sometimes pushes the boat out a little too far. But at least he's trying. And yeah, they've struggled. They got crushed by Bait, and that was a big problem. Their opening game, who was it again? It was FaZe, that was it. And again, they didn't play that well. So I'm in a weird spot with Heroic right now where I'm still giving them time, but at the same time, like you need to do something more at some point. Like if you're going to this series, they're playing 3D Max, who are down here through just reality. Like they got Falcons round 1. Then the second round they played Astralis, who, you know, it's the sort of team 3D Max could beat, but I think is actually just outright better than them right now. So 3D Max Heroic is kind of like, I don't want to say a short bus fight, but it kind of is right now. Like these 2 teams are the 0-2 teams we have in the scene. Like think about it. Right now, if you look at a 16-team Buchholz Swiss, these 2 teams are kind of they're the 0-2 guys. Like they're the guys you put in 0-2 and you're like, I don't really think it was a shock. You know, this isn't a shock to anyone. These 2 teams aren't exactly loaded right now. Xcloud and Nilo had a great start to the year, but they didn't play that well in this group so far. Suspicious P has struggled. Youngsters, your AWPer. Krizen's your new caller. It's all over the shop. They don't look very well put together. They're struggling. I'll give them more time, but they should be expected to be 0-2 in this sort of format. Like, it does just make sense.
Yeah, they have big headaches with Alcaran, obviously, and I've thought about it. There's 2 decisions that they made, which they could have just not done to avoid this entire thing. Number 1, not bench Grix, and number 2, don't bench Youngstar. So in a way, both of us were correct about what Heroic should have done. And that's that's an absolute retake the week win. A 100% victory. And I expect Heroic to be calling us for our management services as soon as we put this episode out. So
you should.
My phone number's on the screen now.
It is not. For audio-only listeners, you cannot find the VOD and look at Quack's phone number and start texting him dick pics. It's not an option.
Yeah, true. But yes, there's one more team we haven't touched on.
Yeah, and this is where I'm about to basically lose my fucking nut. Right, let's preface it with this. MAUs make playoffs at every single event. Since they've become a roster, they make playoffs every single event. Right? They've made top 4, they played 16 events, top 4 13 times. So either they've won a playoff game or they've won a decider game in their group to be straight to top 4. In like every event they've attended bar 3. And they've won an event. Sure, it's the first one, so everyone now kind of ignores it and pretends it doesn't happen, but still, they won the first event they played together. They get dissected, picked apart, talked about, purely negatively, of course, all the time, about why they need to make a change and upgrade because it's just not good enough. You're so close to winning, just win, idiots. Like, make a change, get better, and win the... Obviously, this is not that simple. I have a whole video currently in my video editor to discuss it. But my real irritation comes from the lack of discussion about other teams, especially teams who are playing for massive orgs, who have massive names, who have paid fuck tons of money for people, and despite all of this, produce fewer results than MAUs and get less scrutiny. So I'm going to give you a whole fuck ton of scrutiny, G2, today, because I'm finally at the end of my wits. So since this team came together, they have made one top 4. It is, of course, London, the event they win. That is the only top 4 they've made since becoming a roster. They've played 9 big events. They've missed playoffs at 6 of them. Missed playoffs entirely at 6 of them. They're not even a playoff team at 2/3 of the event. And one of those successes, by the way, is Fisher. It was harder to not be in playoffs at that event. So they failed there and didn't even make top 4. They made the playoffs there, didn't make top 4. So still a failure for me. Their last big win, and put it in quotation marks, is against Furia on October 5th. The last time they beat a team we can currently consider top 5. That's before Furia won 3 events in a row. Like, that's the last time they beat a team who we currently consider elite. Before that, it's Vitality in London, and that's it. Like, you have to go back to September for the real big win, the last one they had. So about 4 or 5 months now without a big win. We look at the numbers, look at the players, the people who are not in conversations to be cut, seemingly. The only conversation we had was people talking about the PR move potentially during the offseason because everyone was speculating PR to everyone. For some reason, this team has avoided more change talk than that because Heavy God and Mattis, they put up decent numbers on average. You know, you look at who it's against, though. They're great versus the bums they actually are able to beat. They are both mid as fuck to bad, depending on the series, against, again, the top teams. The Mouses, the Falcons, the Furia, the Spirit, the Vitality. They're pretty bad against those teams. Nothing really said against them. They never get talks of being cut. No real talk about conversations or anything like that to improve them. Some Pious has been a bum this entire time. There isn't a G2 plus Dexter thread every day on HLTV forums. I don't get how. I do not get how. Even on G2's match pages, I don't find conversations of them making changes. Everyone's just like, what can you do? What can you do? At least they don't make playoffs, or we'd notice they're fucking shit. Like, no, that's the point. They don't make playoffs. They are shit. So yeah, they are mostly losing to top teams, mostly. That's the thing, one of the saving graces, that most of their eliminations and losses, but they're not flawless against bad teams. They have managed to lose. Oh, if you look at their Pro League run, holy fuck, from last year. They lost, that's their one big win, right, Furia? They also lost to teams like 3D Max in that event. They lost to Bait, I think, at that event. They were horrible. So they haven't exactly been flawless against middling teams. They're not just taking care of business, setting the standard. We're the gatekeeper. You can't touch us. But yeah, no, really, they look bad. At this event, they've sucked. The calling hasn't gotten better. The late round play is so disorganized and so confused. I don't know who's comming what. If they're even speaking English, they could all be trying to speak like Mandarin after 3 weeks of fucking learning, from what I can see, because nothing seems to be working out. Paravision, as soon as it was a fucking 30 seconds left on the clock, doesn't matter the round, like the player situation, they just looked better. They looked like they had the chance to win, and most of the time did win. 4v5, 3v4, 3v5. They just took them apart because they had no idea what they were doing. No coordination, no team play, utility rarely of any use in the late round, despite G2's impressive overall flash assist numbers that have maintained throughout the last year or so. Their utility always breaks down in the late round. Their utility management never seems on point. They just struggle. So here's the thing. If G2, they're now 0-2, They're playing later today. If they don't make playoffs at this event, right? Not even if they go out 0-3. If they don't make playoffs of this event, I'm going to start asking for people to get cut. I'm talking you've got to make changes. If Maus need to make a change because they are one of the 5 best teams in the world who are undeniable and always make top 4, yet don't win enough in the Vitality era, okay. G2, who have all the money in the universe if they want it. They can have it. They have the massive brand. They have all the deals. They have all the sponsors. They get sticker money. They've got all the things they need to make big money transfers. If they're not making changes with the results they've been getting, crucify the lot of them. Crucify the fucking lot of them. Because this is wank. This is dreadful. Like, oh, they lost to Vitality in Parivision. What are they supposed to do? You're supposed to beat Parivision. You're supposed to beat Parivision. You're supposed to be able to beat these teams. You're G2. You had Nico, Monacy. You've had Kenny S, Shocks, every legend that basically I can think of that I've worshipped and loved and watched come through this org has moved on and had greener pastures before or after, because on G2 they just can't do anything. But that's the standard of player G2's had. And currently the standard is missed by a country fucking mile. Like, the team is not succeeding in any way. The players don't even look that special. Why are you not trying anything? And why is no one fucking roasting this team on a fucking daily basis? They need to be under more pressure. They've sucked.
They have. I'm because it's also interesting when you put into perspective why they don't have Nico and Monacy anymore. Why they don't have these big star players. And it's because they sold them for very big money. It's very like it's profit. Genuine profit on these signings.
Straight fucking money, yeah. Like they made millions off those guys, made moves to replace them. It's been 9 months since they made those moves, at least. It's been, I think, around 8 or 9 months. Since then, they won London, and then have basically just missed playoffs.
Yeah.
And the 2 times they didn't, they lost immediately in playoffs. One of them's fucking Fisher. Like, come on.
I think you made millions. Let's just assume that money's not spent still in the transfer budget, because you wouldn't have to shell out that much for Mattis when they bought him from Fnatic. I don't think they bought Sun Pius and Saw for. I mean, Heroic probably asked a bit, but I don't think we're talking $1 million. And reportedly they had over $2 million for Monacy alone.
Yeah.
Heavy God, Cloud9 were disbanding anyway. I'm sure they asked a bit of him, but not massive. I'm assuming there's still money here to sign new players. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you not in the conversation for players like Senzu, for example? Why aren't you in the conversation of these big name moves? Why weren't you in the conversation for Try?
This is something I pushed back on initially. You know, when people talked about Senzu to G2, I was like, people were like, oh, bring him into G2 and make like putting in Maub's roles, and I was like, what the fuck, y'all don't understand the game. But at the same time, that's a better, like, bringing him in and figuring out the entry situation, like they have done over the offseason, in terms of they've changed up the roles a bit. You could have done that with a roster move. And now that you're losing to everyone again, I better see those fucking leaks. I better see those inquiries happening. I better see fucking something, because this is not good enough. It wasn't good enough last year, really, but we kind of let it slide for a while because of the London thing. But you can't come into this season and still be shit. And the Krakow playoff berth is not going to hold my fucking like interest very long. Like, you made playoffs, immediately lost to Maus, who are a better team than you, who are always scrutinized. Time for you to get fucking scrutinized. Like, Maus have no money, and they've done better than you. Try harder.
I don't even really care if the signings make sense. It's just, why aren't you even in the conversation? Why are you not even talking about buying a good player? Why is it not even? But I don't know. Maybe they're just holding out until Klim's loan ends or whatever the fuck, because they still have him on payroll. They still have him. Do you think
your loan doesn't have to just extend until the end of you can just recall a player from loan? It's like,
you can.
That's your control. It's you own the player. Like, I didn't realize I had to spell that out. If that's not how your loan contract works, you fucked it up.
Yeah. No. If they don't do something, I don't know what to think, to be honest, because it is dire, and you and I have been pinning it on, individual players. I honestly, or at least I've often brought up
No,
Mavs
yeah.
and D.
I've talked about Mavs is struggling, and then, I was
Yeah.
glad they reworked things, and that got them a playoff berth, and I was like, okay, maybe that's something. Then they went to playoffs and just got utterly smoked by Mouse. Like,
Yeah.
that's a clear sign right there. If you go into playoffs and lose to Mouse, you haven't taken a step, really. Like, you're just another one of these 6 to 25 teams. Like, you're just another one of them. And G2 are that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dire. It's pretty fucking dire.
This is the exact, like, this org right now just embodies that one clip from that one guy in the Chelsea jersey. There's no passion. There's no vision. There's nothing. This org does not give a fuck. This is why, for all his faults, Ocelot worked in G2. Because he cared about winning. He pushed for wins. He took risky decisions. Sure, as he also did with the stupid shit he posted on social media.
Yeah.
But my God, being highly risk tolerant works when you want to win games. And G2, you need to get some of that spirit back.
Yeah, I'm looking at what teams they might be facing in the next coming games, because they need to win 3 in a row now to make playoffs. And I think
they need to beat Pain for a start. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think not making playoffs at this event is a failure. They need to be in playoffs in PGL Cluj Napoca. Outright. So who are they playing? Well, they're playing Pain to begin with. If they don't win that, like, out already there, that's huge.
That's fucking. Sorry, Firesaw. I don't just Firesaw. If you can't beat Pain at this event, you go 0-3. Firesaw, Fire Hunter, cut some Pyres. Start a new core. I don't give a shit. You gotta try something else entirely.
Yeah.
You have failed.
And then the way it's going, you're looking like you already have Aurora and FaZe.
Yeah.
I think Aurora is I mean,
I've done the matchup sim, assuming Vitality and Falcons win, G2 and 3D Max win, and then Foot and Mongols win. Those are the ongoing games that need to be decided.
Yeah, that's the way it's going as well with them.
Yeah, so I've picked those games. G2 would play Bait. And then assuming, again, the favorites win every series. So FaZe beat 3D Max, G2 beat Bait. I think Astralis beat Aurora. I think that's probably the favorite. They then place Foot in a 2-2. But in that 2-2 matchup,
likely to play,
the probable teams you face, it's Foot and equally competent teams, roughly. Like, it's around Foot's level.
Yeah.
If you don't make playoffs here, considering what we just talked you through, Pain, Bait, and Foot, you have just demonstrably failed. Like, that's a failure. You can't have spent this kind of money, go through this kind of rebuild, bring in these kinds of names. Like, still to this day, everyone sucks Heavy got off. Despite, winning is a player. Good players win. Heavy God doesn't win. He's clearly trashed by that extended logic. Please, someone, explain to me where the hype is now. Like, if you can't make it through that gauntlet of fucking titans, you've just failed. Like, you are no longer G2. You are Gamers 2. And that's just cheeks, isn't it? That's just absolute cheeks.
Horrible. Sign friendly campers in that case. Bring back the Polish roster.
You might as well be. Like, they'd be just as successful. They'll have made just as many top 4s. Let's put it that way.
What a horrible team. What a horrible roster.
Yeah, so far through 2.5 days, I'd say, of Cluj, it's hilarious to me. There are 3 Falcons players on top of the ratings chart. Thoughts on this, like, just in general, this Falcons streak? Like, we've seen it before where they start super hot. Typically, it does turn into at least a grand final. Do you think this is the event they could win? If they've stayed hot pretty deep into tournaments before, like, what has to go right for them for this to actually be the one they win as Falcons? Because reminder, since m0NESY's joined, they haven't won an event. They haven't won an event.
Oh.
They have been
they haven't.
less successful than Mouse. Reminder, Mouse are more successful than everyone.
And G2. As much as we just shat on G2, they have
G2
won more event.
Yes, they've made.
They have
3 top 4, like 3 playoffs total, but they have won an event. And Falcons, despite like a dozen playoff appearances and multiple grand finals, haven't won an event. So trophy cabinet wise, less successful than G2, which is alarming. But anyway, What has to go right quick? Is there an opponent they have to avoid? Do you think they can beat everyone in theory? It just depends on how the grand final goes. Like, what's the read on Falcons?
Yeah, I mean everything's always winnable for Falcons. To me, it's more what's losable, which is also everything for Falcons.
In a best of 5 final, yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah. So no, Vitality is gonna be rough for them. It would be a banger of a final, but that's also probably where they're going. I'd say.
Can they play each other in the final? Because if they're not playing each other in groups in the 2-0 games, let's say they both win the 2-0 games. Yeah, and then they're 3-0, so they'd only face each other in the final. But if one of them doesn't win the 2-0 game, they could face them earlier.
Well, I don't know if that's how they play it. And they might reseed based on ranking, or they do it based on Swiss results.
It should be based on the Swiss.
You'd think so, but then yeah.
So they'd be on opposite sides of the bracket as the top 2 seeds.
Yeah, but they aren't top 2 seeds. Oh well, yeah, they would be because they would have to beat Furia. Yeah, I'm not sure they beat Furia. Let's be clear. I think that's a very even matchup. That's a very nice matchup. That's going to be one banger of a game.
It should be. It should be.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time they played each other. It was at Rivals in the grand final, and Furia won that best of 5. That's a fantastic Molodoy series, isn't it? If I'm casting my mind back. And yeah, Furia have had their number.
It is.
The last 4 series. Is it not the banger Molodoy series? That train game? Yeah, it is.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, his rating looks shit, but he actually played fantastic. Thank you, 3.0. Fury have had their number, so in that sense, very real. But also, they've not played them this early whilst they've been this hot. Because at Rivals, they started very hot, played in the grand final. This is still the group. They've started actually kind of insane. I actually think Falcons win this one 2-0.
Oh.
Yeah, just making a little projection. I think it's a 2-0 Falcons win. Now, this show will come out, I think, we'll release it, the game will have started. By the time people have watched it, the game will be over. I actually do think Falcons win this game. I don't like the way Fury have started. I like the way Falcons have. You can't tell me with the 3 guys you need to be dominating, actually dominating. I think they hold the form, and I think they do smash Furia 2-0. It's just a question of what they do in the playoffs, because it's so rough to predict a best of 5 win for Falcons right now. We haven't seen it. They keep choking them away. They keep struggling. I think if the only way they win a best of 5 final is if they play Mouse. If Mouse take care of business with the big dogs in their way, I think there's a chance they can do it. But there's also a chance they end up on the same side of the bracket, which is, a shame.
Yeah, I'll just take Furia for the win then, because I think that's game of the day. 100%, that's the game of the day. But I'll just take Furia then to be interesting. But I could see Furia winning it as well. Molodoy, let's not forget, Molodoy and Kaiserslautern are also playing really well so far in this event, and it's been close maps, it's been close games. We mentioned it before. There's some criticisms to be had here. Molodoy is still on it, and he is absolutely bailing them out in a couple of these maps as well. He's absolutely saving them, and that's something which I think absolutely is going to continue. I think Molodoy has matched up really well against Falcons historically. There's some teams which he still struggles a little bit against, but Falcons really isn't one of them. Like he plays really well against Falcons, and I think
his Falcons 11 maps against them in his career. He's a 111 rating. That includes some underrated maps. There's a lot of underrated performances in that streak. Because of the 3.0 stuff. But yeah, he's generally been pretty fantastic against them. It's going to be a banger series. I do agree with that. It is. I still think I'm still going to pick Falcons 2-0. Let's maybe not say they smashed them on both maps, but those are going to be two great fucking maps. But yeah, the rest of the games yet to play. Cluj Napoca barely started. Vitality 2-0, uneventful in the end. The O2 teams we've talked about ad nauseum. Let's get into some other Counter-Strike stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about an event that had a very confusing start. Istanbulan. An interesting name. It had some weird teams in attendance. Some teams we were kind of semi-excited to see as well. I don't know about you, but I was kind of excited to see some of these teams play. And in the end, some of them just didn't even fucking show up. Looking at you in a circle. So a pure 16 team elimination, going all the way to a grand final between Gentlemates and Hotu, making it through on opposite sides of the bracket, and then Gentlemates taking that 2-1. I don't know. I was a bit disappointed by not necessarily all the teams here or certain teams, just one team in particular. Magic made top 4, then got swept so easily by Gentlemates. I was really excited for that team. I don't know if that was like a team you had an eye on either, or as well rather, but I'm disappointed Magic couldn't make it through.
Yes, Magic have slowly crept up my radar a little bit. I didn't really think much of them until some fairly recent results. They kind of appeared a little bit out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure we didn't even note this team when it formed in the Eternal Shuffle, despite the players that they have definitely been.
Well, it was more of a move from one org to another. It wasn't really a formation.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been in the shuffle, would it?
No, it might have been. But anyway, yeah, whatever the case. It's... I don't know about this event. The most I heard about this event is how many tech issues they had on the first couple of days. And
yeah,
there was a lot of talk about this. There was at one point the game between Gentlemates and Bushido Wildcats in the quarterfinal. That game, the discussion that was had was what happens if both teams want to forfeit? Who wins? Because both teams were willing to forfeit the game and the event and go home until they eventually decided to play with some significant lag, supposedly. So that's mostly how I follow this event. It has some interesting implications just in general. Magic, obviously, a decent winner here, despite only being top 4. It's a very big event for some of the other teams who are sort of in a bit of a major race as part of this event.
Yeah, so the significant one being the Inner Circle one. Because Gentlemates gain 85 points, 8 placements. They actually have a pretty fantastic run. They showed that they do this every now and then. They arrive at an event with a bunch of tier 2 teams and just utterly outclass them in a way we didn't really anticipate they would. Like, we always think, Gentlemates, not quite good enough to compete at the top tier. Let's see how they can be tested by some of these better tier 2 teams. And then they just smash them. Like Martinez, 133, Mopos are 133. Even Davy G and Alex's numbers are fucking fantastic. They don't drop a map until the grand final, at which point they drop an Anubis to Hotu before creaming them on Nuke and beating them on Overpass. Like, this is just a classic Alex clinic where his team just gap the field. In a way we kind of don't anticipate because they don't have the sort of firepower we typically associate with a tier 2 smasher. It's only Martinez that we really rate, right? We don't have Mopos as one of our up-and-coming entry riflers in 2026. But yeah, they do just play better CS. And we saw that on full display. They got a lot of points. Hotu also gained 4 places and 56 points, so that's 27th. 9, who, haven't looked fantastic. Still made top 4 before losing. They managed to get 6 places out of it. Yeah, as we said, even Magic got a place. But the big story for me was Inner Circle. They show up. Well, they're in the event. I'm not sure if they even showed up. They forfeit immediately. And they lose 30 points and 3 placements, which is huge for them. Then down to 57. They're not making the major. Like, they're fucked. Like, they've been on a backslide. And we've talked about this a couple of times. It just keeps going on. And I'm not sure what they were doing instead or what went wrong, but they weren't able to compete or field a team or whatever it was. And now they're just fucked.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain they skipped Istanbulan because they were also in the Atlanta qualifier, and they were. I'm pretty sure they received the Atlanta qualifier quite late on. I'm pretty sure those invites only came in maybe a week or even less before play started. Like, they started playing. So I think they've actually written about it. At the last moment before traveling to the LAN event in Turkey, we were invited to the closed qualifier for IEM Atlanta, whose schedule overlapped with this tournament. Because of this, the decision was made to withdraw from the Turkish LAN. And they couldn't withdraw in time because of short notice. That means they get a forfeit. So they focused on the Atlanta qualifier. They unfortunately didn't make it either. They lost to Johnny Speeds to get knocked out. An interesting game, to say the least.
Yeah, they lost to btrams and Johnny Speeds, so yeah.
Yeah, both unexpected losses quite clearly, but yeah. They are out. They are 100% out of the major race, which is something I didn't think I was going to say when we were hyping up how good this team was, how good these players were when they were part of TNL. And we were saying somebody should buy this team because 100% they are going to be big in the future. And they're playing really well. And now they are very far out from a major spot, and it's just not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. And
Yeah,
part
their
of
next.
that, I mean, yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
Istanbulan could have been a big chance for them, because I
Yeah.
think they definitely need land wins, and they don't have a lot of them.
No, they don't. They don't have a lot. I mean, they've got some more opportunities coming in the season in general to keep their sort
Yeah,
of. They got things to play for. You know, they just qualified for the closed qualifier of Bucharest 2026. So that's going to be a qualifier for them to play. I mean, there's some VRS predicted teams, but realistically, all that's happened right now is the open qualifier teams. The
yeah,
first set, so it's them and Tricked. But predicted is G2 3D Max, Game Legion, and Astralis. We'll see who
it's not
actually
gonna
ends
be
up
bad.
taking the invites and plays in that closed quali. But they still have some stuff to play for. They can still qualify for that LAN, still regain some points. It's just, yeah, it's going to be impossible to make this major. They just have to try and recover
Yeah,
for the next season. And the way it's going, they might lose more players before they actually make that turnaround happen. They might lose Davu in the coming sort of shuffles and window and whatever. So I'm really not liking what I'm seeing out of this
no,
inner circle team.
Davu should make some demands. Davu should absolutely demand better out of this team than he's gotten, to be honest. For the player he is, and for the player he should be. It's sad that he's stagnating, and I think he should realize that, and he should be able to make some demands towards the team to have season improvements.
Yeah, the fall off of Captain Kirka, of course, post Bird from Sky. Unexpected? No, not really. He has sort of regressed to his career mean, and that's just a part of it. It's a part of the reality of Inner Circle. They've just not had the talent to keep up. And yeah, here they are. Another big sort of small LAN. A small LAN that's also big. It's
Big small land.
it's just how it works right now. We have a lot of big small LANs. Copenhagen Gaming Week.
Yep.
Another event, this one in Denmark, as the name would imply. This time won by Monty, debuting on LAN with Rainwaker. I think that's their first official as well, with him actually as the team's official player. But also, I think just the first time they played with him on LAN in general. They end up winning this event. They had a weird group where they played. It's a double limb GSL group, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they played Tricked in a best of one, then beat Ill Will in a best of three. Ill Will being Nemanha, Haji, Ducha, Adam S, and Seven Kick. And that's a team that's been really successful online recently and has climbed the rankings really quickly. Yeah, they beat them in groups. They end up facing Ecstatic in the first semi. And that's an Ecstatic team that they had to face because they lost an opening BO1 to Masonic, which is, oh, it must be so tilting. And they did manage to make it through anyway with a revenge win over Masonic. But yeah, that gets them a game against Monty, who 2-0'd them. The other semi is Kolesi versus Ill Will. Ill Will take that game. Everyone's favourite Polish Orpa Flay doing not a whole lot. And then the grand final, Ill Will Monty, the rematch from the group, and it's a Monty 2-1. We should have done this segment for the last event. We'll do it afterwards, I guess. We'll do a real MVP for both these events afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk MVPs and we'll talk about players who stood out. But yeah, Ill Will falling to Monty in the grand final. Monty looking actually really good with this new configuration. Like, Rainwaker has fitted flawlessly into Ryu's roles and is doing everything we'd hoped he would. They get 124 points out of this event, 10 ranking spots, so they're up to 29th as of the end of that event. Ill Will also taking 64 points and 10 spots, up to 35. Ecstatic, despite the semi-final loss, still get 19 points and 2 spots. And then everything else is a bit all over the shop. Kolesi take 4 spots, up to 51. But yeah, a lot of negatives for the Danes in attendance. And Ents, the big disappointment, I think, of this event, not making playoffs and losing 2 spots in the VRS. So I think some big positive swings, but also a big negative swing for Ents, who did not... Well, I don't think they expected to miss playoffs. And they might have thought they had a chance of winning this, given their reputation.
I mean, they always have a chance at winning the events they play because they have a reputation, but they also just have players of some quality. Like, I would say at an event like this, Ents should expect to be in the final. And most of the time they aren't. They haven't played a grand final in any event, online or otherwise, since Nodwin Cluj in October.
Speaking of teams like slowly falling and fading, like that's pretty bad.
At this point, they are more or less eternal top fours in my opinion. They will be there, but they just won't. I mean, Nate Hughes carried that legacy over, I guess. but they won't win, and they need some wins because that's another team who I think genuinely might be a surprise to some people, and probably a disappointment to a lot of fans. Probably also out of the major race. Ends are most definitely not going to be in the major, I would say, at this point. So it's quite early to call that, considering when the major is going to be. But yeah, it's a big win for Monty, and the ranking is going to reflect that. I think part of the reason why they have such a big gain and why they enter top 30 through winning this LAN is because they took a big break after Blast Bounty. And in general, I feel like teams who you don't always just want to play a lot of games, because you'll end up with what's called an anchor. Basically, the ranking will always trend you towards like your most common level of opponent. The ranking will always drag you back. Like there's a gravity towards the teams that you usually play, your most common level of opponent, sort of. Your average level of opponent is where it's always going to drag you towards. So playing a big event like Bounty, taking a big break, and then immediately winning a LAN afterwards is going to be very rewarding, because you don't have that big of an anchor pulling you towards, where Monty are usually playing. So for them, it's a big win. Genuinely quite exciting if they can make it a little bit of a LAN run here. I mean, we're talking about the major race, and let's be honest, the EU side of it is so tough. It's so tough to make it up there. You have to make it up past NIP and BetBoom. But there's one team, like Monty are one team who are genuinely close. They're 19th at the moment. You need to be 17th.
Yeah,
they have
EU,
NIP and BetBoom are the teams that are in front of them. They can absolutely get past them by having a good run in these tier 2 lands. And that's pretty big for them. That's a big win. Yeah. That is a genuinely big win.
Yeah, they'll be playing the Roman Imperium Cup, which will feature some other really big names in this sort of run. In terms of major qualification, I think the Roman Imperium Cup's going to have so many fucking repercussions. It's Passion UA, NIP, Gentlemates, Monty, BetBoom, Fnatic. Just to name a few, then Eyeballs also there, Hotu are also there. Like, this is
Eyeballs are within touching distance of a major spot. I'm just going to say, they are.
Yeah, they are. And 100 Thieves are debuting at this event as well. Like, this is a pretty huge event for the scene overall in terms of how things are going to look. Teams like Bestia as well in attendance, who need to get some wins to confirm their spot for the major. Like, they're in a tight race as well. This is going to be one of the biggest events. And yeah, Monty.
Can I? Really I'll note one more team. Yeah. I'll note one more team here in this Roman thing. Oramond are crazy online. They have one LAN win on record in VRS, and it's since September. If they win, like, they have 1,242 points, all right? They need to get up past around 1460-ish. If they win 5 individual games in this Roman Imperium Cup, they are into the major. And I'm not saying they will, because they're one of the lower ranked teams here. It would be a bit of an upset.
Yeah, and winning 5 games would win the event. Like, if they win 5 games, they win the event.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, fair.
But, it would be incredible.
But like, we're already also only in February. There's still other events to play.
Sure.
They like when they if we just ponder now, when they get their 10 LAN wins, if they can get 10 LAN wins, they are top 10 on VRS. That's how good they've been online, and that's how good their VRS is at the moment. So they can absolutely punch their way into the major. Just as a small side note that I noticed earlier today, which is kind of crazy to say. But yeah, this event is crazy because the major race, the European major race, is literally like 7 of the teams who are attending here. NIP, Gentlemates, Monty, BetBoom, Fnatic, Eyeballers, Hotu are all fighting for the same major spots. And they are going to be directly competing in this event. And that's genuinely super exciting. And it's unfortunate that this is at the same time as the LAN that I am working, because I won't be able to watch. And also, most people won't be watching my event, so that sucks. But hey, it is really shaping up to be interesting. And honestly, as much as this event is going to matter quite a lot, like for whoever ends up winning these couple of events, like Monty's going to be it is a big win for winning Copenhagen Gaming Week, no matter what happens. We have so many of these LANs that anything can change, and we're starting to enter this really exciting period of major qualification where you have so many balls in the air and you just have to keep track of all of them. And I love that.
Yeah.
This segment of the podcast is going to be really interesting for the next couple of weeks.
It is. Yeah, the part where we talk about lands that aren't the big lands, where we do the small sites, the small retakes. we're gonna have to be reading a lot of nitty gritty little numbers, like talking about exactly how many points they made, if that mattered enough, what they need following that. Monty, since playing with Rainwaker, so they started playing with Rainwaker obviously at Bounty. They beat Navi, lost to Falcons, then beat Tricked, Ill Will, Ecstatic, Tricked, Ill Will again. Sorry, not Tricked again. They have only lost one series, and they've lost 4 total maps. They've just looked amazing. And reminder, this was quite a difficult thing to sort of live up to, because prior to Rainwaker joining, they had just won DreamHack Knockout Stockholm, where they did beat OG and Foot. You know, they were in like quite an incredible run where they were making the final or winning like pretty much every event they were playing. And they had some insane wins. They were a fantastic team, but Rainwaker coming in has yet to fall off. Like his 8 official maps, he's a 127 rating. Like he's just dumpstering people on this Monty side. And I think it's not only a credit to him, but it's a credit to this team and how well they're called and how well they set their players up to succeed, that he can come in and just so flawlessly hand out destruction. So shout out Monty. Let's get into quickly this segment that wasn't really planned. It wasn't supposed to happen, but we're going to do it now. It's time for something that's not usually overly discussed. We talk about MVPs at the end of events and things, but we're going to be doing
you the real MVP.
Yes, the real MVP. So let's start quickly in Cluj Napoca. Quick. Who is your real MVP so far in Cluj Napoca? Now we can have some genuine answers in terms of like, Monacy and things like that, but just who is it? Like across the board, who's been the real MVP?
Tricky question. I think Astralis have a lot to thank Stare for. Just quickly mentioning him relative to where they are. Like obviously you'll give it to a Monacy or a Nico, probably a Monacy, for absolutely hard carrying Falcons at the moment. But relative to the games they've played and relative to where I think Astralis need to be in this event, after taking that tough loss against Navi, a lot of eco losses in that game, to make such good work out of 3D Max, thanks to Stare, is really well played. They're in this food series right now. It's not looking too hot, but still you have Stare really up there on the second map. And also, not a complete bum on the first map. So I think he deserves a shout. I think Molodoy deserves a shout in the way that he really comes in clutch in a lot of these games. Like it's not an absolute hard carry performance, but it's like, yes, we needed this Molodoy to make this win happen over Foot and Bait. Bait in particular, I think as close as that is. It's really good to get that Molodoy in that Toto game. If you don't have that, that's way too close for comfort. Deserves a shout for that. I think in the end, it's gonna have to go to one of the Falcons guys.
Yeah, so Monacy has been kind of nuts so far. So has Kyosuke, so has Nico. But Monacy, just on CT sides, he's averaging a 40% opening attempt rate with 87% success. Like he's just taking liberties and delivering like over and over again. It's unreal. He's only got a 162 CT rating. Could be higher, I think, if it wasn't for eco adjustment. Because Lord in heaven, he is dumpstering people, and it's with the AWP. It's 0.68 AWP KPR, or sniper KPR, should I say. He's been magical. Kyosuke, hilariously, is the complete opposite. T rating extreme, like 171 T side. Again, 33% opening attempt rate, 69% success with a rifle on T side. That's absurd. Like that's why I'm thinking they're just gonna smash Furia. Then we will see if they cool down in the period. So going 3-0, then having to wait a couple days to then play the quarterfinal, will they have cooled down a bit? Because god damn, this does not look beatable right now. Like Kyosuke's even winning clutches on the back of it. Like they're looking insane.
Yeah.
But my pick actually for the real MVP, it might actually go a very different direction. You know who's yet to put a foot wrong at this event? Bit. Bit is yet to put a foot wrong. And against Aurora, they lost a map. He still dropped a 153. He was really good against Astralis. He was one of the only players who didn't shit the bed against Mouse. And overall, he's played a really solid event. So yeah. I know he's not got the best numbers. I know I just gave Monacy and Kyosuke their credit. But Bit has been so clutch for this team. so clutch.
Yeah.
Like he's won a bunch of clutches. He's just been really good late round, even in non-clutch rounds. Makaze's been really up and down, and the rest of the team has been much more solid. But Bit has just not put a foot wrong, and they've needed that. So, yes, Makaze did deliver massively to help beat Aurora. But Bit is the only part of Na'Vi so far that's really worked that isn't the calling. So, a good part of their success has to come down to him. I want to give him a lot of credit because we don't get to talk about him this positively very often because he's had some really off sort of runs recently. But yeah, shout out Bit one time. My real MVP for Cluj Napoca.
It's a fair pick. It is a fair pick. Like, I think Na'Vi are looking pretty good to make playoffs. I think that's a good target for them to make. I think the Mouse series shows that they're not really there in terms of challenging for, a top 4 spot at this event.
Of
grand
course,
final
yeah.
or win or whatever.
But
they're
guys,
not really
we need to
there.
fix Mouse. We need to fix Mouse. We need to fix Mouse, man. What's wrong with Mouse? Mouse, you need to make a change, guys.
The Mouse series kind of shows that. Bit is not one of those. Bit, I think, is one of the guys who is ready for that sort of level of play. Bit is one of those guys who seems to, at least so far in this event, seems to be really ready to challenge for a win in the event. It's not, it's not him they're falling on. So, for that, very good. Because other times that has been the case. Other times Bit really has been a problem. So yeah, it's good that it's not him. Anyway.
Yeah, and let's talk about quickly these two events, these two smaller events, these small sites. I've got for Istanbulan my real MVP. I mean, he could be just the MVP of the tournament, but it kind of has to be Mopos. Because he did take, like, for example, on T side, takes 27% of their openers, also led the team in clutch points. Like, absolutely crazy. You don't see players doing that. Like, that's absurd. Martinez was fantastic. Davi G had some good numbers, but Mopos was unreal in terms of how he was able to show up for this team. A real deciding factor, honestly, historically, in Gentlemates, the core of this team that's gone back years and years, in their success. Like, it does often come down to Mopos and his ability to be impactful. So for me, he's my real MVP. Without him popping off like this, they're probably losing to Magic. Like, that's just a reality. They don't play that well when Mopos isn't on form. And as much as Alex is calling and the system and the cohesion they've built over years comes into play, Mopos' individual level is very important. So I want to give him credit. And he's my pick for real MVP.
Fair. I'm actually going to take it the other way. I'm going to take it Martinez, the other sort of parallel great performer out of Gentlemates, specifically because of the grand final against Hotu there. Hotu had a lot more to gain from winning this game than Gentlemates had, and Gentlemates had actually quite a bit to lose if they lost to Hotu here. Like, this win puts them into the major race. Like, puts them into the major. Gentlemates in present day, Gentlemates have a spot in the Cologne major. This game against Hotu very much changed that. There was a lot to play for, but Hotu, as being the further back, they could really leapfrog if they took a win here. They win the first map, they lose the second map. It's battering on both of those maps. Overpass is what decides it. And that's when, like, Martinez really activates in the series and takes it over the line for them. And I think losing this grand final would have been such a big loss for Gentlemates. So for Martinez to really pop off across the series is very big. And that's, if I'm going to pick one for this event, it's going to be him.
Unfortunately, Martinez was fucking insane on Nuke.
He was good on Overpass as well. 18-15.
He was fine, but he was that's not the big carry map. It really isn't, unfortunately. So
but Nuke as well. Nuke as well is a big win for them.
Nuke is a huge win. Like, you can give him credit for that. It's just the way you framed it made it seem like those two were flipped.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'll just say for the grand final overall, Martinez goes huge. They needed that win. Puts them in the major. For that, like, given that over the course of the event, both Mopos and Martinez have a 133, I get role considerations as well. Just to split the tie, taking that grand final over the line was because O2. I mean, again, they trade absolute battering maps there. It's a relatively even matchup overall, and Overpass is a 13-10. That's after Gentlemates had the CT side start as well. So I'll give it to Martinez just for sort of taking it over the line for the whole for the series as a whole, because that could have been a big loss. Instead, it ended up being a big win. Impactful game. Well done.
Yeah, then let's get into also our picks for Copenhagen Gaming Week. That's I mean, look, the ratings are pretty pretty simple and clear. It's Afro who's a 138 for the event.
Yeah.
Pretty clear and easy pick in that sense. I do actually want to give a quick shout out to. I mean, obviously we gave Rainwaker a lot of credit already, but still, an impressive part of what makes Monty tick. Gizmy. Like I gave him credit for how they managed to integrate a player so quickly, get him up to speed, get him up to a top level. They win the event. Afro's the MVP. Gizmy, just for Monty, is the real MVP.
Yep. I don't disagree. I think it's a fair pick. I'll just give a small shout out to 7kick for Illwill, who on this team has started opping. So a little bit of a. He hasn't really played op before, I don't think, but on Illwill he started. He is the primary opper for this team, and he's had some over the course of the year so far. He's had some pretty nuts games. He's had some pretty big downs as well, but he's a top player for Illwill, and they managed to make the grand final. It's not a huge performance, but I'll just give a small shout to him. But yeah, it's probably going to have to go to Afro.
Yeah, Afro is. He's not the real MVP. He's the MVP. He'd get the medal from HLTV. Let's put it that way. All right, let's get into a segment that still is missing its intro music and visuals.
Awful.
But
Horrible.
Still is everyone's favorite. Quack, what have you brought to me? It's time for Cock of the Week.
I actually forgot that this happened this week, so I was originally not going to pick it. But today's Cock of the Week is Russian caster Lent BB, who casted a CCT game and threw a lot of shit towards Big Ekipa in the middle of a clutch round, about to lose the map to, I can't remember who it was, and I think it was Hanke who's in the clutch, and he's just throwing abuse at her as a caster. It's just, I mean, I'm just gonna say it's an outright cock moment. Like, it's just, why are you doing that as a caster? I don't think you should put a lot of value in your personal opinions of the players or the teams you are playing when you are casting a game, just in general. But he's kind of pulling that very far by just outright being like, fucking lose the game. I won't even say what he said, because the English translations are not very nice. Not very nice at all. And then she wins the clutch. That's just, just on another level. According to CS2 News, he has actually had some retribution, or there has been some justice for this. He's banned from casting CCT games. And it's just another huge cock moment. So, El Bozo, you will not be missed. Please don't come back ever again.
Yeah, so according to the tweet, he's been banned from casting this series, but he'll be banned for life if he does more things wrong?
Oh.
Apparently, I don't know, like it's weird, but in any case,
very strange.
He's a retard. Like, you're not going to repeat the words he said, because for some reason you're scared of, I don't know, someone being mad that we used naughty words. He called the player in Russian a bitch, a slut, things like that. Like, words to those effects. Which is, for the most obvious reasons, not okay.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. Like, you can't do that as a player, I wouldn't really give a shit. If a player was yelling that sort of shit at another player, whatever. I mean, we call each other worse. But a caster, firstly, it's your job to try to pretend you're impartial. It's also your job to not say that sort of shit over someone else's broadcast. Like, it's not like this is a... Yeah. Like, he's not casting his mates in his home cup. Like, this is unprofessional at minimum, genuinely insulting, and also demeaning at worst, and generally just a terrible idea. Like, this is one of the most cocks we've had in a very long time. This isn't someone's throwaway tweet. This is someone on an actual broadcast, essentially. Straight up insulting players for no goddamn reason. Like, there is no reason for what he's saying and doing. He just did. What a cock.
What a cock. It was Sosia, by the way. Sorry, it was not Hanke. It was
Yes.
Sosia in the clutch. And she actually said outright, she was thinking of going on the stream to clip her 1v3. And that's when she noticed this. And it's like, that's heartbreaking, dude. She thought she had like this great game-saving round at 3-12 down. 1-on-3 clutch. And, you know, she comes over to like clip this hype clutch moment. And no, the caster is just absolutely shitting on her. Heartbreaking. But yeah, just don't fucking do that. That's horrible. He had a betting sponsor on this game as well. BetBoom were endorsing this message on the screen while he was doing all this. Obviously, like yeah, but just don't do that. You have like it's somebody else's tournament. You have sponsors who are sponsoring your stream. Horrible move, horrible decision. Again, El Bozo.
Yeah, honestly, just in the tweet you linked me, there's some utter degeneracy in the responses. Another nominee who could just get cock of the week outright is some retard called the King of Rot. Pokemon card opening, CS2 antics, health, fitness, nature, woo-woo-ish. So as you can tell from the fucking description, a retard who then starts posting some of the most ridiculous things in the responses. But no, this is the worst kind of person, like this streamer. Like there is no reason to be expressing these thoughts out loud in general, let alone on your broadcast. You are a cunt. Goodbye. I was never going to watch you anyway. You're in Russian. Now that I found out who you are a genuine cock and can fuck yourself. But yeah.
Yes.
Finally, a good cock of the week. That's a good cock of the week. It's not just some forum post where people are just wrong. That's a genuine cock. CS gods who've blessed us with some real cock.
Ooh, we are eating good tonight.
We are. Let's get into a segment we are trying our best behind the scenes to turn into YouTube Shorts. But as you can tell by the lack of YouTube Shorts, we are not doing a very good job of turning them into YouTube Shorts. It is time for the Retake Games. Quack, you apparently have not prepared one, but I have. Okay, so I'm going to do this as shorts friendly as possible. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Quack, you're Swedish. That means you're pretty gay. We're going to find you a top because obviously you have bottom energy. This game is very simple. I'm going to name a stat from 2026. It's going to be filtered LAN only. Top 30 only, so teams in the top 30 playing each other. Those are the only games that count. LAN top 30. Find the top for each stat. I will give you some hints if you need them, but ideally you would just guess, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Let's start with an easy one. Let's begin with KPR. Who is the number one in KPR? Who's the top?
Donk.
Correct. It's actually relatively close between him and Zaiwu, 0.89 to 0.88. A very close battle between those two tops. Next, also pretty easy, round swing.
Donk.
Wrong. Donk is third. Number one is Zaiwu at plus 4.46. Then it's actually Artfrost, 3.52. In the few LAN excursions he's played enough top 30 teams to be valid, and is in second place. I made sure that like Artfrost tier players never were number one in the stats I picked because that would be a bit unfair. But just a heads up. But yes, next we have 1vx wins.
Total. Ooh. Fuck it, Molodoi.
Incorrect. It is Jame. Molodoi is not in the top 5. He has two teammates in the top 5, Yuri and Keserato, but Molodoi is not in there. Number 2 is OC, which was shocking to me. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right. Team flash assists. So this is now team, no longer player. Find your top team. The top team on flash assists per round.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, is it Furia or Vitality? You're gonna say it's neither. I'm gonna say Furia just because I know Fallen has very high stats.
Furia are number 5 on the list. Vitality are not top 5. Number 1 is Astralis with a 0.37. Second, G2.
What the fuck?
0.36. Yeah, flash assists trend completely randomly with winning percentage. It is the most useless stat. Anyway.
All right.
Your final stat. This should be the toughest one. You have so far kind of sucked. But if you get this one, I'll give you the win. If you're able to get this one, you get the win outright. The leader in CAST, K-A-S-T, so far in 2026, LAN top 30.
Holy shit.
Do you want hints? I can start giving you some hints if you want.
I'd like a hint here.
Right, so your first hint. This player plays on one of the teams we consider one of those top 5 teams. You know, he's in the top 5. That's your first hint.
Oh, okay.
For your second
My
hint,
mind
I
goes
can
to
cross
Mouse.
someone out.
Someone of my choosing? Or
No, someone who's in the top 5. I'll give you one of the top 5 players, and I'll tell you they're not number 1.
Okay, so right now I'm thinking that it could be a Mouse player. It could be a Spinks. Or a Jimmy. It could also be a Spirit player. It could be Shiro. Shiro survives a lot. Could be Zaiwu. Zaiwu has a high cast. Yeah, cross somebody out.
I'll cross off number 5, which is Zaiwu.
Ha! Alright, good. I was low-key gonna go for him. I'm thinking Shiro. I'm thinking Spinks. It's not gonna be Jimpat. He's just played too bad. K-Serato. K-Serato is my pick.
K-Serato is your final pick.
It's too logical. You said I wasn't gonna get it, but I'll
That is incorrect. K-Serato is
K-Serato.
not even top 5. At
Fuck.
number 4 is Rio. 3 is Art Frost. 2, Mezzi. And number 1, Tanir.
Alright.
Yeah, Tanir's number 1. Those are your tops. You managed to get Donk, and that is it. You were only able to find Donk. I really thought you'd get the round swing one, because that's kind of like Zywoo's the king of round swing.
As it came out of my mouth, I realized that was wrong. Yeah, but hey, I guess I suck.
Yes, you do. But yeah, that's the game. Hopefully you can edit that into a short.
Yeah. I
Hopefully
probably
you can figure
can.
that out. But yeah, no, tough to find some of these. Like, realistically, who would have expected, especially like the number 2 in 1vx wins to be OC? Crazy. Actually crazy.
Yeah, I feel like he wouldn't have played that many maps against top 30, considering how much they played in like Philadelphia and shit. But I guess he did.
Yeah, top players, 2026, top 30, LAN. Let me see how much OC's actually played. He has played 15 maps that match the filter. That is across Frag Miami, Flom Mythical LAN, and the 2 Krakow stages. So what he's played, Game Legion M80 in those first 2 events. But then, yeah, the rest is at Krakow. And yeah, he has a 98 clutch rating, a clutching rating, 0.05 clutch points per round. So yeah, totaling 13 total clutches. Like, he's been pretty impressive for NRG this year so far. Real shocker, but yeah. Paravision's James. James is just, he's just that guy, you know? He's just that guy.
The James I should have had, but yeah.
Okay, you have no game this week, right? Am I correct in saying
No,
you've
I don't.
not prepped anything?
You're correct.
Okay, let us get into the other piece of work you're supposed to do every week. The Eternal Shuffle. Quack, name me some moves. I'll give you some grades. What have we got this week?
Yes. Number 1, the big story. Turns out this was real. Passion UA have cut Halzerk and probably Grim, we'll go into that later, to sign Try and Senzu.
Yeah, big.
They have
big
one
move.
player from every continent except for Antarctica.
Yeah, that was a big joke I saw. It's like, if he comes in for Nyx or Grim, they'll have a player from each continent, each land, human-bearing continent, really. Like, let's be real, because the Antarctica, the Arctic, those are 2 of the 7 continents I was taught as a kid. Obviously, no one really lives there; they don't really count for this sort of conversation. But yeah, no, they'd have one from each, including South Africa for the Africans. That's a wild one. Not many teams could ever brag as having a South African at all. So Passion completing the Infinity Gauntlet, as it were.
We're also rage baiting Australians quite a lot by saying they're not a continent, but that was intentional.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess one of those 2 polar ones are not actually counted, are they? Because Australasia/Oceania isn't one. Is supposed to be one. But anyway, who gives a fuck? We're not here to do geography. Let's talk about some Counter-Strike. This is pretty sick. Halzerk benched for Try. It's not the team that was most desperately in need of an AWPer gamble or change in some way, because Halzerk wasn't that bad. He wasn't Brokey tier. He wasn't Ultimate tier, but he wasn't that great. So there was room to improve, and Try's been farming for a long time. down in South America. With Imperial, he's been with them like 18 months roughly, averages a 119 rating, 0.78 KPR. The numbers versus top 10 and top 5 opponents are dreadful. To be fair, so is the team. And I do think there's a very strong correlation between the team getting utterly fucking smashed and you having poor numbers. And Imperial generally do get utterly smashed in Europe. So
Yeah.
not too concerned about that personally. I do think the eye test is pretty fantastic on Try. He can use all the weapons. He can do everything. Hopefully it works. Works out for Passion U on that front. The other part that's very interesting, that's more risky, is Senzu coming in for Grim. Now, first off, if that was always their plan, if it wasn't just, oh, NRG kind of want Grim, so we'll try something else, because that's the rumor for Grim, is that potentially he's going to NRG. If they always wanted to bring Senzu in for him, a GM that knows his shit, incredible. Passion UA, congratulations. Because when I first saw the leak, and the French, I think Croissant Strike, that fucking group, they immediately said he was coming in for Nyx, like that was their guess. I kind of got annoyed. I hated that idea. You need role players. We haven't reached a magical sort of equilibrium in the world where you're just like, just stick a bunch of role players in and it all magically works. Like, no, we haven't entered an alternate dimension. You can't just use stars in every position. And Senzu coming in for Grim is the right option. Kfem is the more natural, pure entry. But Senzu can make the sort of half-lurking playstyle work a bit better, have some free reign, make some rotational plays, just go for things in the mid-round. Sometimes early if they're set up right, if the spawns are there. This is the right combination. I do like this move. So, Passion UA, you get an A+. You are a middling team struggling in the top 20. Like, you don't really have many other options. You're not quite on the level, like, you're not like top. You're not in the 5 to 10 range either, where you could worry about slipping. You're outside the top 10. Like, you don't even have anything to lose by doing this. Like, you're probably going to get into the major anyway. So you might as well try and push for the next level. And yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with this. I don't know about you, Quack. I'm straight up saying they smashed it.
Yeah, it's a banger move. It's an outright banger. I'm not sure what the causality on Grim and Nyx being. I think genuinely they might have signed Senzu without knowing who they would replace him with, but just knowing that there's 2 potential moves you can make. I mean, technically 3. If you wanted to get rid of Kfem, you could, but like, there's 3 riflers we could replace with Senzu, and either one of them is going to be good, is probably how they felt about this, so we're just going to pick up Senzu. Supposedly to a pretty big sum, supporting according to the CEO. This was a misattributed, I think, as it was originally quoted, saying that Navi were offering, and they basically outbid them. Then Navi said, we didn't offer anything. It's more so that there was a rumor around how much Navi were willing to pay, and they paid a bit more than that. So, yeah, Senzu signing. I think both of these moves are bangers. It's the Grim of it all that I think is a bit of a... It is a question mark. It is a risk, as you say. But, you know, reportedly he's going to NRG. I don't know if maybe that's something that was decided. Sometimes teams and players just sort of have this sort of moment where management starts talking about, okay, we're thinking about bringing in a rifler, we're thinking about making a change, and one of the players just sort of raised their hands and goes, yeah, I've kind of been wanting to leave anyway. You know, this has happened with teams in the past. So it might have been one of those situations where Grim just made the decision for them. But I think it's an really interesting prospect for Passion UA. I think they end up somewhere in the top 10 with it, like pound for pound. That's where I think they should end up. If there's any team which I think can work through like communications issues potentially between Senzu and the rest of the team, not really having played that much international before, I think it's Passion UA. They've already sort of had that issue to get over with Kfem and with all that. So yeah, it's a nice environment. Collectively, the community apologizes to Nick X for just assuming that you would be exiting because you are the support player. But yeah, hey, so it's exciting. It's really exciting. Try is a player who should have been on a better team for a long time, and Senzu is a player who has been a top 20 player now for 1 year. It was last year. He ended up being in the top 20 list. That's big. Passion UA can be really big, and I'm just gonna say, all right, this is something that Overdrive said, and I'm just using it as a little bit of a springboard. because he said that, oh, why are they joining Passion UA? It's a team that has never been within a whiff of a playoff spot. And that's just an outright lie, because Passion UA / Complexity, this core, has multiple times been in the 9th to 11th spot of majors. Of majors.
Yeah.
Won a game off of playoffs multiple times. Last time in Budapest. Motherfucker, you were there. Like, it's you should know about that. So I just don't think that's true at all. I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's really exciting, is that because Passion UA, I think, should be better than they have been under both Complexity and Passion UA. And maybe Grim wasn't a problem, outright. Maybe Hallzerk wasn't a problem outright. I think both of these players end up being an upgrade. So yeah, I agree with the A+ grade.
Yeah, no, the team is also going back far enough to like the Complexity days. You do see like there's potential in terms of, you put the stars in, this team can win genuinely big games and make big playoff appearances, like they did with Elige.
Yeah.
When they had the actual star firepower there. Since, forming under Passion UA, they've had less success, you could say, but they've still been threatening, and they have had, that run they did make to get to that 9th, 11th spot of the major. They go down 0-2 in best of ones to G2 and Falcons, beat Liquid, beat Imperial, and then lose to FaZe 13-11, 13-11. Like, that's a FaZe on a next level god tier bullshit run. They're that far off. They're two rounds on each map away from beating them. So they're a tough team. They're a well-run team, well put together team. Sure, Grim, you wouldn't say is the first player you'd cut, like if you were actually making moves. Like, you wouldn't initially straight up just be like, oh, I need to change it. But I think it's the right move in terms of the roles. And Grim also, immediately has an opportunity with NRG. So it's wins on all sides. I think this team will genuinely be a very good side. And if they reach their full potential, if Senzu's as good as everyone prophesizes, if Tri's as good as I think, at least in terms of abilities in theory, they should be a top 10 team as, expectations. They should be in conversations for playoffs. They should be continuing to further the embarrassment for G2 in terms of going toe-to-toe with them, potentially knocking them out of group stages again, or beating them in, quarter-final games that they managed to make. So Passion UA are a threat, and this is a great move.
Yes, and the other side of it is that NRG are reportedly going to sign Grim, and I was very interested in this, because this is obviously a bit of a downgrade. You're moving down the Americas ranking, just off of the just objectively speaking, you're moving down. Actually, no, you aren't even. You're moving up 5 spots. Jesus Christ, their ranking is insane. NRG are the second best Americas team.
In terms of the vibe, you're like, oh, it's NRG. But yeah, the recent results have propelled them way up the rankings. Like, if you look at their VRS graph, it fucking catapulted this year. All the way up.
Yeah. Well, regardless of that, the team is still, I would say the team is still worse. And I haven't checked, but I think the head-to-head would agree with me as well. It's an interesting move, but I still really fuck with it, to be honest. I really fuck with Grim going to NRG. The report originally didn't say who it would be for, but then Gromov leaked that, claimed that Georgie is the guy who's going to leave, and basically just he's not practicing. So I assume that is happening. It kind of makes sense role-wise as well. That's who Grim would come in for. But I really fuck with it. I think this is a move that can really improve NRG as well, because they're bringing in a player who has more of a proven performance at the higher level, where Georgie was sort of struggling. And I don't think Grim surpasses Passion UA anytime soon. But I think he's really going to improve the team quite a bit.
No, I agree. It's the right move. The roles are a tiny bit odd, I guess you could say, but it's kind of what he should be playing. Is this semi-supportive kind of? We'll anchor some sites. We'll get some opportunities to play make. In this roster, like, it's not quite what he had in Passion UA, but it's still very workable with Grim's skill set. It gives them more options as well. They can, like, switch things up with him and Bro, maybe even him and Sonic occasionally if things are not working on a certain map. They've got some flexibility there with these players. So this is an NRG that just keeps getting better. Like, the results have been fantastic this year. Like, they're not making this move because they don't win enough games. Like this year, they won Frag Miami over Game Legion and 9. They finished second in the Mythical LAN, only losing to M80. Krakow, they beat Bait, they beat Astralis. And then they played the Blast Premier Rising event, and they beat Passion UA 2-0 straight up to qualify for the next Blast event, which is Rotterdam. That's what they qualified for. Like, they straight up have been dominating these games. I mean, Passion UA, they knocked out M80 in their run to that game just to lose to NRG. Like, NRG right now look like the best domestic Americas team. Or North Americas, sorry. Not entirety of the Americas. Like, in terms of the teams that aren't just playing international, you know, because Liquid kind of are an Americas team still, but they just play international. NRG have been the best of the group, and it's been powered in large part thanks to Bro, but also thanks to OC's return and resurgence. So if you fix one of the spots that's, you know, been a bit weaker, which is George and Sonic have not been that spectacular this year per se, but if you replace George with Grim and he takes them up another notch, holy fuck, they're a legit top 15 side. Like, they're just straight up a top 15 team in the world. In which case, again, it gets even more complicated for teams that are trying to be top 10. So, no, NRG have also getting an A+ for their move. Like, this is a brilliant move. Love it.
Yeah, we like it. Now we get into some of the other downer moves. Virtus Pro have benched the final 2 players from their 2021 major win, and Fame and Flit are gone. They have 2 players left. Their names are Bist and Toro. And look, okay, you've been a Fame fan in the past.
I have, yeah.
What do you think about his benching? Do you think that, you know, they needed to move away from those players?
They did. Honestly, they did a long time ago. Fame and Flit have kind of felt like there's been a feeling of, like, between us as viewers, but also I'm assuming we're not completely off base, that they're just kind of above what the team has been for a long time. And this has not been the best use of their time. It's kind of where I'm seeing them. So I would expect them to be benched, like, from this team at this point. And I would expect them to move on to not necessarily better things, but at least something else, like another project at some point. So it was necessary to bench these guys. What VP do from this point onwards is a very different question and a very complicated question to answer. I still think we're just waiting for a full academy promotion. Like, I expect Aqua to come in. I expect maybe Forever, like a couple of the guys from the academy team. Who is exactly in there right now? It's Triborg is the other guy left from the original academy roster that upset Liquid, had that sort of energy in that moment. But this team the academy team has been pretty good of late. Like, they've picked up a lot of wins you wouldn't expect them to pick up. You know, they beat Alliance to win United 21 League. They've been beating teams like Phantom, Gen 1. It's not an insanely, undeniably good roster. It's not like they must be signed by someone. It's just more, if you look down at your academy and that's what they're able to do, you're like, okay, we can promote the core of this team and potentially take that ranking. Or they can try and do some finicky VRS thing. I don't know if they have some old roster they can recover by promoting 2 of the Prodigy team, and then I don't know what's going on exactly, but I think the best option for them is to promote Aqua, is to promote Triborg, and is to promote Forever. Take over that ranking spot, which is down 152nd, but still, and play some smaller lands. Put some money behind the team. Let them travel. Let them test themselves. Because, yeah, they are clearly still pretty talented. I still think there's some hope in them. Even though Bist and Toro's numbers against top competition has been horrible, the team has also been horrible. The team has been poorly set up, poorly run. 100% I'd back them. I'd give them a chance. If I'm the org, give them the keys.
Now, where I'm going to push back on that is, why would you do that when you could buy a core or a full lineup from O2, K27, Nemiga, Nuclear Tigris, Magic, and end up about 100 spots above the Virtus Pro Academy team?
Money. That shit's expensive. You're buying a whole core. You're talking multiple millions of dollars.
What, from Magic? Do you think Magic has that sort of financial
fuck would they
power?
sell it to you for? Why the fuck would they sell it to you at all? They're in touching distance of making that nature. Why would they sell you their team for anything less than a couple $1 million? Like, there's no reason for them to sell it to you. It's not just free. Like, you can't just come up to them and be like, we want a core. Like, no, they have to fucking let you have them, and they're not going to. There's no reason for them to let you have them. And there's no reason for those players to demand to be bought out. oh, 3 of us are going to go and play with Bist and Toro. Why would we want to go do that? You've not got a pitch for the players, let alone the org. So there's no chance in hell they can make that happen just like that. If they want to scoop deep into the fucking pocket and find a couple $1 million. Yeah, maybe they can, but otherwise, no. Not happening in a million years. They have to promote the academy or take a massive flyer on like one of the deep pulls, like one of those mixed teams you see at the bottom end of the Russian mixed team scene. There's no other option.
Oh, yes. There is actually an interesting option for that. Since Nemiga benched Risky Bob, you can buy Risky Bob, Nemiga, and Lear and put into this team.
Risky
and
Bob,
you inherit
who and Lear?
Risky Bob, Xanter and Lear.
Right.
And you recover, I'm pretty sure you recover some old Nemiga results off of doing that. And hey, I don't hate it. I don't hate that. Nemiga wouldn't mind. Like, Nemiga have nothing to lose on selling those players.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get Xanter out of whatever TDK is, but that sounds like a cheaper and less retarded idea. But you're not exactly in major range, are you? Like, you're
I'm
not
just
exactly
not sure.
Like,
no, but
really
you are
that much.
100% better. 100% still better than VP Prodigy's ranking it.
Yeah, but think about this.
At the moment,
you've also bought something that brings your average core age up 5 years. Again, you can promote 3 players from the academy and just sit on it. You waste no money. Just do it.
I'm not sure I see K27 or Nuclear Tigres or Magic. As far as I know, Magic fucking formed yesterday, asking millions of dollars for their roster because I just don't think they have those financial muscles. I don't think they would.
That's how much they're worth.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. It just feels like it's way too small an operation to actually have the ability to do that. And why would the players not want to go to Virtus Pro, a big org with much bigger salaries?
Because they lose everything else.
No, they keep the major spot. They keep everything. Honestly,
they haven't got the major spot. They still need to earn that, and they'd be playing with 2 kids that they haven't played with.
No, you don't even have to.
You don't gain anything.
Have to play with Bist and Toro. You don't have to play with this.
Oh yeah, they can buy the entire roster. That's millions of dollars. That's millions of dollars.
I genuinely don't think so.
It's not gonna happen.
I don't know. I if I could find some sort of corporate details on Nuclear Tigres or Magic or whatever, I just don't think they would. And I think if the players want to go to an org that is offering them quadruple salaries and everything else is the same, then the players would kind of strong arm the org into being like, no, we want to go to Virtus Pro, 100%.
It's not going to happen for free.
I just don't think that Nuclear Tigers can't just say, no, we need $16 million for you to buy this roster if the players actually want to go to Virtus Pro. And I think they would.
Again, it's not 16 million, is it? We're still talking millions. We're not talking 60 million.
No, but just as an example,
prices,
what I'm saying is you can't just put. I don't think the org is just going to be able to put a number on it without ruining everything they have. They won't. There's no point in sacrificing the entire team just because they want to put a ridiculous buyout on it. It's not ridiculous. It's worth that much. But they could. Nemiga could. Nemiga are a big enough operation where they absolutely could, and they could push back on that and say, no, we'll raise your salaries, whatever. But I don't think Magic are going to be able to do that.
I have as much faith in Magic's ability to put that buyout on it as I have every random fucking team that's ever held a player to a ridiculous buyout in all of Counter-Strike history, especially famously in the CIS and Brazilian scenes. So yeah, I have zero reason to believe all of a sudden the fucking CIS region, the Russian scene specifically, is going to be like, you know what? Yes! Thank you, economics major quacky. No, fuck no. They have a shady gambling sponsor anyway that you've never fucking heard of that's worth millions. They probably can hold players in a contract gulag forever and not give a fuck. Yes, they will ask for millions. No, VP probably don't want to pay it. Yes, they should promote the academy team.
All right, yeah. I mean, yeah. I also I'm just not sure that fucking whatever CEO runs the bedroom org Magic cares enough about Counter-Strike where he would want to keep the players when he could get $2 million for Virtus Pro or whatever. Because I also think VP might just straight up fucking pay for it. But anyway,
yeah,
that's that
VP
move.
Want to pay $2 million for Magic? Go nuts. I think you're wasting your fucking money, Virtus Pro, but that's your prerogative.
Speaking of very dubious buyout selections, Monty have signed Rainmaker.
Nothing dubious about it.
Officially.
Slam dunk.
No, not that specifically. Just Monty have a history of putting on ridiculous buyouts when they have every reason to sell. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, man. Why aren't they just reasonable? Why, Monty? Why?
I'm talking. Okay, no, I'll tell you this post show.
Doesn't matter. It's just
it's good.
how CS
We already
work.
talked. We already talked. No, it is not. I will tell you this afterwards. Anyway, Rainwaker. We've already talked about this. Monty played really well in that event. It's basically their debut with Rainwaker properly. I'm surprised it took this long to finalize the move, but I'm assuming they just took their time. And Rainwaker's a good player. Monty's turned out to be a good team. Thumbs up.
Yeah, no, there's nothing really
That's
more to
about
add. It's just a really good addition. Considering they lost Ryu, Ryu's looked great in Tier 1. They needed a big signing to make it work. He needs some big performances, and he's been huge so far. So yeah, of course you lock it in.
Yep. Ill Will. I have no idea if this is an orgless team or an organization, but they've added Diha, and that's also paid dividends in the Copenhagen Gaming Week. The grand final spot.
Yeah, no, he played pretty well for them.
About it.
There's not much to add. They're not much of a, as far as I'm aware, they're kind of a mix with just a fucking AI Gen or £5 on Fiverr type logo. Like, it's not much of an org, but in any case, adding Diha into the mix works. Like, it's just a good idea. So yeah, not much to add on that front. Who was it they replaced? Was it Fostar? Yeah, it's Fostar that gets replaced.
Fostar.
You're not missing much.
Yeah.
W move.
Oh, not a big loss. Nice job. G2 Ares have added Shine as their IGL. And I like this move a lot.
Yeah, G2 Ares were... Who was calling on this? If I remember, was it TAC? Was it FNK? I think it was TAC who was calling.
The player they cut was FNK for Shine, so... But you might be right, yeah.
FNK goes, but FNK wasn't calling as far as I'm aware.
No, he was.
Oh, no, he was.
Wikipedia, he was calling.
Yeah, no, it's a weird move as far as, for this team, I don't think it actually makes that much sense. Because G2 Ares are just in a weird spot firepower-wise right now. And FNK was actually one of their better fraggers. And Shine cannot shoot for fucking shit. I'm going to be clear. He cannot shoot. He might be a good caller. Man has one wrist. And I don't know where it's attached, because he's not like he's a movement god. Like, he's not going to help them on that front. So yeah, maybe it's not a terrible move as far as calling. This team just doesn't need a caller, though. This team needs fucking help. Needs help on the fragging side. Since, Nidoria got benched, Junimi came in for Klim, nothing's been working on the fragging front. Even TAC has taken a bit of a step back. So, no. They needed Hattori to develop. They needed Junimi to come in and be a star. They needed whoever the fuck Ixupa is to straight away deliver. So far, he's yet to redo a whole lot. I'd be concerned. As much as Shine might be a calling upgrade in the long run, I'm just concerned that this team just can't shoot.
Yep. No notes. I like Shine. It's nice that he has a home. G2 Ares is not a bad place to be for him, I think. But yeah, if they still had Klim, I'd be very excited, because then Shine has a lot to work with. I think Shine is a great caller. I think every single Swedish team that Shine has ended up calling for has a lot of time ended up looking very good in honestly quite a short time. Both Johnny Speeds and Medisport looked quite good under Shine up until they benched him, and both benchings kind of didn't make sense in hindsight. But hey, so I like Shine for that reason, and I think it's nice that he has a new home. Let's see how that goes.
Shine led by Inner Shine. Let's see if Outer Shine can match.
Yes. Other academy moves. Young Ninjas have cut Slime, and they've finalized their roster and lost their VRS, interestingly. By adding... What the fuck are their names? Note is the one I recognize, and then Tyne and Joski. Or Baby Extas.
Yeah. Who the fuck are you? Like, I don't know Tyne or Tane or where the fuck, and Joski. Not gonna lie, don't know these guys. Like, Tane was on Nemesis at some point, but with a version of the team I've never really watched. Yeah. Like Note, Crucial, Nexius, Thomas. Like, I never really watched these guys. Can't lie. I was vaguely aware of Thomas being on a team with Crucial and with one of the other guys. Like, I remember seeing that call come up.
Yeah.
Nexius, that was the one. Like I remember seeing that call come up, and we had a conversation about it. But no, I'm not really that fond of this move. I am a fan of. Historically, I was a fan of Slime because Slime had a really fun playstyle. On Young Ninjas, it wasn't really much of a thing, so you switched over to rifling from AWPing. And I liked Maha. Like, his aim, really sharp. He'd actually had a few like really stunning series prior to joining NIP, Young Ninjas. At which point, when he does join them, he becomes an absolute bitch role player and struggles. But right at the end, right at the death, when JoCab moves on, he has an absolutely insane run with them, having been given a couple better spots at United League. And I'm like, yes, finally. And then they bench him. So I'm not sure what's happened there. If he's decided he wants to be done with academy play, I could just go ask him. But yeah, in any case, he has been moved to the bench. And that's a shame for me. But look, NIP, Young Ninjas, this project is a pure academy. That's why they don't care about the VRS loss. I think they wanted some fresh talent to see if they could find another stud they could promote, or at least talk about promoting in the future or selling on. They clearly didn't think they had enough in Slime and Maha to justify that sort of belief. So they've just moved on. That's their prerogative. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. Look, if in 5 years' time Maha's one of the best players in the scene, I could be like, heh, told you so. But it's whatever. Like right now, it's not an intolerable move.
Yeah, I joked that Joski was Extas's deadbeat son, and he's trying to get the attention of his father by becoming a CS player. Because they do look very similar.
They do share one particular characteristic. Otherwise, they don't look very similar at all. But yes, it is quite an important characteristic when it comes to this sort of conversation.
In the realm of Counter-Strike players and the coaches, quite unique to be that bald, to be honest.
Yes, to be so
literally
hairless.
Yeah, very smooth. Bestia, the Argentinian team who cannot qualify for a major, have cut Timo, I believe, and they've added Nacho from Shinden.
So I saw this move in the chat or in the file, and I was like, oh, they cut Timo? So I remember people having some excitement for Timo.
Yep.
But yeah, they cut him for Nacho, who's not a player I've ever actually watched play. To be clear, you said he was on Shinden. I've seen them pop up in results feeds, Aside from that, I haven't really paid much attention to them. So this is a move I don't have much to say on. Like, I can just say, I was made to be aware of Timo a bit. He's a role player for that team. He had a couple pop-off maps that I was led to watching. They weren't anything particularly special. So yeah, they're changing the cast that surrounds really Buddha and Tomashin. So we'll see what comes out of it. But for now, it's a little bit more of a nothing burger.
Yes, and finally, everybody's favorite radar cheating accusation team, Sparta, have actually added somebody notable, and it's Norway. And I think they also added Crad, but I think that was last week, which we didn't really talk about. But Norway and Crad are now on this team and are going to be have radar accusations levied at them. Yeah. So Norway obviously cut from Sangal for, I can't remember who, one of the international players, I think, Prime Taps and
I think it was Prime
Radix.
Taps.
Yeah.
Directly or indirectly.
And now he's back in a Russian team for Sparta. So hey.
Yeah. Over the last month, they've signed Finn, formerly of Pro, Crad 11 days ago, and Norway 6 days ago. It's an interesting switch up, trying to, I guess, shed the old label.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know much about Yoram Yata besides the accusations. Yeah. This is an interesting project. I mean, how far Norway has fallen is a damn shame. But if he can make it work and turn it around, that'd be great for his career. This would be a pretty big team to turn around, but they're not. It's not promising. Let's put it that way. It's just a shame. R.I.P. Norway.
R.I.P.
He
Norway.
is killed.
He is indeed killed. Oh, hey, one of these guys used to play on Grond. That's a blast from the past. Anyway, yeah, that's all the moves. Well done.
All right, cool. Moves are done. Let's get into the final topic of the show. A classic 2-hour episode of Retake the Week. It's time for Prospects of the Week. Quack, I will let you go first.
Melo 9 destroyed another week.
All right, Melo 9 done.
Mic drop. Yeah, no, it's look, okay, they've done, everybody's, I was talking a lot about the question marks around the role consideration, considering he was coming in for Poi. Alliance have actually rectified it in a pretty interesting way, where he's effectively taken Ovid's spots almost 1-for-1. And Ovid is the guy who is taking a lot of openings now. And he's actually doing that really well. Like, I was considering picking Ovid for this week, not because of, stats, but just because he's adjusted really well to that new to that new positions and those new roles. But no, Melo 9 keeps absolutely destroying, and yeah, I mean, in the end, what did they do this week? I think they played United 21. They played the Atlanta close qualifier. Neither was particularly fruitful. But Melo 9 was, he was not the problem.
No,
by no
he was
means.
not.
No, they beat OG. Like that OG win in the Atlanta qualifier is a bit of a statement win, to be honest. And they beat Johnny Speeds, like quite kind of demolished them earlier. And both of those are really statement wins for Melo 9, considering he used to play for Johnny Speeds and OG are actually pretty good. So big wins for them, big games. Well done, Melo 9. Crazy week.
No, the week is a kind of a disappointment in terms of the actual win-loss for Alliance, but it's a massive week from Melo 9. And look, the losses they have: Ents, Sinners, and VP Prodigy, all very, very relevant teams to today's conversations, I think. But more importantly, Melo 9, the role change that's actually happened makes way more sense, because the initial conversation of he's going to be your opener is like, fuck no, he's not. That makes no sense. Like, he's a very measured, controlled, very precise kind of Rops-ish player. Like, I don't want him on my openers. Like, not hard opening. Like, he can work the map in certain places, and there's maybe timing opportunities he might want to take against a certain team, but it's not going to be his role outright. And yeah, in the end, he's ended up trading a bunch, clutching a bunch. He's got a 0.08 clutch points per round for the week. That's pretty high. A lot of it's on the T side. Just generally being a very productive star, sort of semi-lurky, actually more hard lurk on the T side. And then on CT side, here you can throw him into some openings, because CT side openings are very different in the way they work in terms of the opening duels you'll take. So this makes more sense. Arvid, congrats, you're now the hard opener for the team, but you're doing it pretty damn well. Like, his T side ratings are 119. He's actually got a 54% opening success rate on high volume. He's adjusting fairly well to the position. It did also make just more sense for the type of player he is, because even when he was playing the roles Melo 9's now in, he was less lurky with it. He was more pack trader, was more faster paced, and he just kind of works now. Yeah. I do like this combo they've decided upon with these two guys. They needed to make this choice, and it's smart.
I'm curious about how it's going to go for the rest of the team, because I think both Up and Twist have sacrificed quite a lot. Twist in particular seems to have taken quite a big dip. But we'll see. We'll see how all that shakes out. Somebody has to take the entry duties, and that is not Ovid to the same degree. That's usually Up.
Yeah, not in the bitch entry sense. Like, you need one of those guys to do that work.
No. Yeah, but I thought it was interesting. People were saying Melo 9 was going to open, because they were saying like, oh, this is how he's always wanted to play. And then I was like, then why doesn't he do that in Johnny Speeds? Why didn't he do that in Gold Stunt? Why didn't he do that in Johnny Speeds? It's like,
why doesn't he do it on his fucking basic bugs? Like, he just doesn't play like that.
Yeah. No, it's just not him.
No. So yeah, Melo 9, great week again. Continues to promote himself. Every time I see him play, there's a HLTV forum thread about Melo 9 overrated. And I'm like, huh? I check the game. He drops a 150 and a 2-1 loss. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, HLTV forums are just full of retards. Just to be blunt. There's no point reading them. My pick is a player we all gave up on, who is clawing his way back to the top. Like, everyone gave up on him. Like, post Lasercats, Bermilov looked like he could be exciting. He then kind of sucked on Mouse NXT, really sucked on Fnatic, and people were kind of done. He's now on Kono. And with btrams guys, your IGL, your numbers are always going to take a leap. Like, if you're a star, but this is beyond a leap. This week, he's played 14 maps. He's split that into 6 series. They've won 3, lost 3 series this week, have Kono. His highest rated teammate, Bermalov, is Kios at a 103. Just to show you the firepower that is on this roster, that's the highest rated player behind him. He has dropped a 140 rating across the last 7 days with a 0.92 KPR, 25% multi-kill rate, just crazy stuff. Openings, clutching, trading, everything you'd expect a star to do, he's doing, and that's the genius of the Bird from Sky system. Like, there's a rifler who gets everything, the AWPer gets everything. There are 3 true role players who will do what it takes to allow those players to make the plays they want to play. And when you watch a Bermalov POV from this last week, it is kind of all over the shop because he's just doing what he wants. He's taking certain opening picks. He's making very quick rotations on his instinct. He's got, when he arrives at a bomb site, he almost always has an anchor who's like sat in a spot, kind of like under pressure from util, just kind of like jiggling a bit, trying not to take the fight too quickly to give him the time to show up, at which point, bang, bang, he's hitting the shots. He's shooting really quick right now. Like, he looks so confident as well. And he's just, like, he's clearly got a team that says it's okay for you to take a risk and die and lose and miss a shot, miss a fight, because he's not afraid of taking them. And he's fucking wrecking people. So an absolutely insane week out of Bermalov. Is the level of competition particularly elite? No. Do I give a fuck? Of course not. He is playing against X0 Tenacity, bigger keeper. I mean, the bigger keeper one's the biggest, like, kind of ignore it. But played Leo, Alliance, WW, like, it's tier 2, tier 3 play, but his numbers have been like this all this time on Kono. This is just a particularly spectacular week. Yeah, Bermalov, shout out. Still only 18 years old. So all those, it feels like we had years of scrutiny on him. He's just 18. So, prospect of the week, fully deserved.
Fully deserved. Well done. I had actually forgotten that Jax was on this team, and it literally is. If Bermalov is not Zaiwu on this team, then what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, but back when they had Captain Kirka was the guy getting set up on the rifles, and he was delivering. It's now, I'm not sure if it's Kios or Jax who's supposed to be set up, because both of them have been shit.
Yeah, dude. I'm just feeling like, you know, the way this team is shaking out, I haven't watched them, but I do feel like, okay, so you have Kios taking absolutely throwing his life away for Borup to maybe get a frag, and then Bermalov gets a 3k because he's in exactly the right position where Bird from Sky wanted him to be to get the most amount of frags, and then Jax in TeamSpeak goes, "Let's go, guys, let's go." That's how I feel like. I feel like this team is gonna win everything. Jesus Christ, this is 2019 Vitality again.
It really is. When you look at the ratings, since Captain Kirka was, sold on to TNL / Inner Circle, I think actually already at that point. Relax came in briefly and put up some numbers, which was funny to me. Like, they're not real numbers. Like, he's got a 0.68 KPR but a 119 rating, like whatever. If you look at the players, it's Bird from Sky 0.87, Jax 0.95, Borup 0.97, Kios 1.03. And since Jax joined the team specifically, I believe Bermalov's over a 120 at least. Like, it's so ridiculous. Yeah. He's a 122, yeah. And oh god, the numbers for everyone else goes down if you just look at the time period where Jack's been playing. Like, this is rough. Oh, yeah. Like, this is ridiculously bad from the rest of the team as far as the fragging and the firepower, but Bermalov is dominating.
Yeah, they have a run of 6 straight losses in between there as well. In that sample. Yeah, wow. What a fun team. What a fun team. I'm gonna make sure to watch a Kono game at some point this week.
You should. They are.
Oh, today. This one today. This one today.
Well, of course there is. They're playing a billion games.
Oh, this is for if they win, they make CCT playoffs.
Oh yeah, and they're playing Laser Cats, Bermalov's old team. This is perfect.
Oh my god! Game of the day. Fuck Furia Falcons. This is game of the day.
Yeah, that's the real shit right there. It's the real shit.
Oh,
you'll have to see it. You'll have to see it. But yeah, that's going to be the show, guys. Thank you to the members for tuning in live. We did do live members only release for the rest of you later in the day due to, me wanting views. And the Counter-Strike schedule is quite intense right now. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Sub for more content. Remember that members get access to bonus content and rights. We'll see you next time.